It's 8 o'clock and welcome to Spiritual Talk TV. And tonight's guest, we have our lovely spiritual medium, Lawrence Saville. Lawrence is also president of Poole Spiritualist Church in Dorset. And they run services online and offline at the church. So let us welcome our lovely spiritual medium, Lawrence Saville. Good evening, Lawrence. Good evening. Let's welcome you on the show. How are you? How are you?
Hi, great to see you.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And Jennifer as well. I think this is your first time, is that right, meeting Jennifer? Is that correct? Is that correct? Is that your first time meeting Jennifer?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yes, it is.
You're asking, Jennifer.
Yeah.
It doesn't bode well, does it?
Yeah, it's doing really well tonight. Yeah, so it's lovely to have you on the show. Jennifer, so how have you got any questions for Lawrence? I know this is your first time, so I'd like to introduce you both. Lawrence, Jennifer, Lawrence.
I know. I'm so happy
Jennifer.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. Just so excited to meet a fellow medium, and I would just love to know a little bit more about you and your church and what you'd like to share with all of our viewers here today.
Oh, okay. Nothing much then. My name's Laurie Saville. I've been a platform medium for over 11 years now. Sat to develop for 10 years before I went on to platform. And I've got to get the time right because of 2020, we seem to have lost years.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, I was associated with the Poole Church. But they had one of those committee meetings that I'm sure people who are associated with churches are well familiar with, where suddenly everything goes up in the air. And anyway, the outcome was I ended up as president and sat there thinking, okay, what shall we do? So started moving the church forward in different ways. Not just relying on the message all the time. By bringing in, we had friendship groups where people just get together. People on their own, we brought in bereavement group, which is a very useful session for those going on that path of bereavement. And just started jiggling about with the normal schedule of things, because we used to open up at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon for a service. Well, when I dug into the history of that went back to the days when shops used to shut at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. That was the only reason we had a 3 o'clock on a Wednesday service. And of course, the world's changed since then. People are working more, couples are working more. So we moved a lot of our events to the evening. And that was proving very successful. We just started really getting moving again. In fact, we were just on the cusp of opening up another centre in a little village about 30 miles from here. And the date for that was the 19th of April 2020. Well, so of course that didn't happen. Nothing happened. And when the lockdowns came in, we jumped online and tried out a few different platforms. This is my favourite. I do like StreamYard because we do a regular Lyceum night. And it's great that we can just talk together like this. And sometimes people are still a little bit wary of Zoom. I don't know why, but they're just a little bit, I'm not quite sure if I want to be seen. So this platform came to the fore for our talks. And then we branched out into Zoom and we started doing divine services online. And we now stream our services live from the church. So people can sit anywhere in the world and watch a spiritualist church service. It's not an interactive for the Sundays. It is only to view only. But yeah, we're just going forward and forward and forward. We have a podcast channel. That's doing incredibly well. And we're now going into a new phase of training and education, which is my love, my love.
That's
So
excellent.
all going well. Thank you.
That's
Oh.
excellent.
I love to see how you light up when you talked about your love and how you love the education part. You just lit up. It was so lovely to see that.
You know what? In
Teaching.
our understanding, our passion, and I always say to people, find your passion. Because when you find your passion, it shows.
Mm-hmm.
When you're passionate about something, suddenly you drop into another gear when you're talking. And I do a lot of that. So please mute me or tell me to shut up. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, find that passion, and spiritualism has got so much to offer. So much beyond the message. The messages are great and they are needed and they are a part of our movement. But a part. And there are just so much more for people to discover and learn and to get engrossed with. And I love that. I love it when you see people go, they have that moment. So yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Well, we have quite a few people now joining us, Lawrence. We've got Rish Adsom, and we've got Stacia, Kaza White, Donna Jackson, Doc Cooper. So everyone that's joining, please remember to like and share. And remember, you're all in for a free reading for all those that like and share tonight. So get sharing and we can introduce that towards the end of the show. So back on again, Lawrence, I was just going to ask you, how old is the church? How long has it been open for? Has it been opened a long while?
It's in its current location. We started off in 1976, and at that time, my parents were running the church. So I grew up in spiritualism, which was wonderful. Then I got to an age, I was 17, I moved to London and started on a different phase of my life. But then sort of like London after a while, London when you first moved there is great, it's so vibrant and everything. And then I found I was coming home for a day and then I was staying overnight and then it was 2 nights and I suddenly thought, yeah, I want to be back down here. So I moved down here, or back down here. The parents were getting to that age where somebody about was very beneficial for them. So looked after them. They both passed in 2000. In the interim, there were other presidents involved in the church, and people kept saying to me, "You'll be running this church one day, wouldn't it?" No, I won't. You could fill in that word with whatever adjective you like. And then suddenly I was. So I just thought, okay, let's get on with it. So the actual church is an amalgamation of 2 churches that used to be in the town. So the history of Paul Church goes back over 100 years.
Wow.
But like all things, things get lost in the course of history. So there were 2 churches, they came together to be one, and then it started moving from there. But this premises is 1976. So yeah, and it's ideal location as well. We're just off the town centre in a cul-de-sac, park opposite us, see at the bottom of the lake road. It's just like, yeah, this is brilliant.
When you say 2 churches amalgamating together, what was the other church then?
One was the Paul Spiritualist Church, and the other one was the Paul Christian Spiritualist Church.
Oh, I see. Right.
And of the day, then there were. Do you know what? Our history is made up of lots and lots of little independent churches. In our area alone, I think I can name probably about 6 that used to be. And when we were talking to church in those days, one of them, do you know what a lean-to is on the side of a house? When they build down the alleyway at the side of the house, and it's a bit like a big long greenhouse, basically. And that was one of the churches and where people met up. So, in those days, spiritualism was really vibrant, very vibrant community. And the local mediums, and not just for this area, for all areas, what we refer to as the old school mediums. There was great camaraderie between them, and a healthy, not competitiveness, but they would want to push what they do with their own mediumship and their fledglings and things, because of that support that they had in the community of so many different mediums. Sadly, that's something, sort of like getting a bit thin at the moment, but we can bring it back.
Yeah, never say never.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Well, we've got more friends joining us too to say hello to. Ava's here today. Hi, Ava. Christopher's joined us. Raquel Volkman. Stacey's here. Donna Jackson is here, and Dot Cooper. So I just want to say hi to our viewers that are coming in too, to meet Lawrence and hear more about him too. So we've got quite a little fan club coming in for you today, Lawrence.
Oh, thank you. There can't be anything on telly tonight then.
So I know that you're a spiritualist and you're a medium and you're a platform medium. Do you have any opinions or feelings and thoughts on, like, what I want to say is like angels or other realms of beings that some mediums like to work with? Do you have any opinions or thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the depth and breadth of spiritualism. There are so many avenues. What's that saying? When they talk about God or the divine or the God of our understanding, it's all the same light through different windows. And I mean, as long as these followings are based on, loving yourself, number one, actually loving yourself, taking that pride and that time to acknowledge you as a presence. Mm-hmm. And it's based in helping others selflessly. It's not put over dictating. I'm seeing some of the new thinking lines coming in, and it is very much, you will, if you don't follow me, you won't ascend and things like that. And I just think, really, I don't go along with that. I always say in spirit, the race isn't over until the last one crosses the line. So as long as it is based on love, charity, helping each other, and being a servant, just helping people.
Can I just touch back on something there, Lawrence, that you mentioned? You mentioned the God source. Who is God to you?
Ooh, depends when you ask me during my life, because it's ever changing. Mm-hmm. Very much at the moment, excuse me. Very much at the moment, I'm looking into the one consciousness theory of everything. That we are all part of that one greater whole. And that makes a lot of sense to me. Because there's so many theories, isn't there? I used to ask my team in spirit, when I go over, what am I going to see? Because I never see, when I'm digging in the communication, I never see where they are now. And they just turned around and said, because that's their heaven, not yours. And I went, you know what? I actually get that. I actually understand that. So we go to what we think, where we feel comfortable. I always say that as well. When people say about this collective consciousness, I do understand it. I understand the theory there. Everything is on a giant hard drive that we're going to go into to be on a very easy to understand. But, any of us, when we go over, if we suddenly go over and we're in these swirling mists and little lights flying, are we going to feel comfortable? No, we're not. And when we cross over, we don't suddenly get the answer to everything. This is always the thing that people can't quite marry up. So if I think, heaven's going to be a wonderful cottage a million miles away from the nearest living person, with a dog and a cat and a lake to fish on, do you know what? I'll probably go there until I get to a stage of thinking, well, there's got to be more, and then more will come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, God is very personal. It's
It is a
very,
personal thing, and I do agree with you. It depends on what stage you are in your life.
yeah.
Has there been a time in your life, Lawrence, when you doubted your faith?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, we all go through times. I lost my parents within 6 weeks of each other. And 4 weeks later, I was in hospital being treated for cancer. So you can imagine my opinion then of the great scheme and plan of things was probably not the best.
Yeah.
Not the best. But you get through these. We're all an amalgamation now. You two lovely ladies and everybody watching online, like whether today or later on. Give ourselves credit. We've all got through things we never thought we would get through. We've all had that time, haven't we? We've had that phone call. Somebody was no longer there, or we've had that diagnosis and thought, oh, well, that's it. That's my lot. And we get through it. We do. We seriously do. And today, whichever day you're watching this, is the day that you can celebrate that. It's the day that you can say, you know what? I thought my world had ended that day. But here I am, and I'm doing this. And I'm out there, I'm talking to people, which you may have noticed I love. But yeah, and I've got a vibrant church. The church is really buzzing. People love it. Not everybody, that's fine. Absolutely fine. But the people that do come, we've got a great community feel to the place. People chat, people talk. The demonstrators are selected to bring in different attributes of working with spirit. We've had brilliant philosophy. We've had some awesome philosophy. We've had amazing evidential mediumship. Our healing team goes from strength to strength. So you know what? Today I can celebrate all those bad days made me the person that helped this come into being. So thank you.
Your parents will be very proud of you, Lawrence.
I constantly get messages from that. Yeah.
Very proud of you. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. That was so beautiful what you shared. Thank you. And we've got Paul. He's got a little comment for us too, or actually a question for you. What made you become a platform medium, and what was your motivation, and where do you see modern mediumship going in the future? Beautiful question.
I started off, I didn't have interest in becoming a platform medium. I started off on the Reiki route. And when I was going through Reiki 2, when I was working with people were coming in and talking to me. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I said this to the person that was training me, and they went, well, finish off level 2 and then go and find yourself a development circle, which I did. And mediumship, we can see it, can't we? We can see all the layers. We come in really excited and, oh, I saw a black dog the other day, and what does that mean? And it's sort of like, well, you're in a park and you saw a dog. What do you want it to mean? So yeah, you went through all the excitement, but then actually you just found, do you know what? The evidential mediumship from the platform, when it's delivered correctly, touches the soul of the person. It really does. You can feel that resonance. Second out, round 2. No,
it was perfect timing. Just touches the soul. Ding! It's like, thank you, God.
Yeah. But it does. The basis of all our work is healing. Every aspect of spiritualism, you can trace it back. If you dig, is about healing. And what better healing to know that somebody is free of pain, is know that somebody is there for us, is aware of what's going on around us. So that was the spur, because I did find, again, I was very fortunate. I had some wonderful teachers in my time. One of them, Molly Clay, I think she used to get exasperated, like by me. I said, my mediumship's like a shot monkey with a shotgun. And I said, sometimes I'd hit the target and other times I'd be miles out. But we got there. So, you know, when you stand on a platform, especially with the divine service, where you bring everything together, you bring in the prayer, you bring in that and philosophy is, in my opinion, got to be about today. You know, everybody watching today, everybody on here today, we've all got challenges with the world outside that door. And through the philosophy, we can start sharing that. Okay, you can't take it away. You can't wave a wand and it will be wonderful. Or you can't sit there and go, right, I'm going to manifest the lottery winnings for tonight. Oh, there we go. That's it. That's all my problems over. But we can find those words that travel with us. And when we have a little bubble or something, magically those words can come back and people go, okay, it is what it is. Let's get through this and move on. So, yeah, the motivation was just to share the voice of spiritual philosophy is my passion. Healing is my passion. The evidential mediumship was probably a bit further down the list. No problem with it whatsoever. I enjoy doing a good dem, and I know, you know, I'd love that moment when you've delivered the message and you turn around to get that sip of water and you go, yes, got that. That's great. I didn't miss a thing. Thank you. So yeah, the motivation there is to spread that joy, because it's what we should be doing, is spreading joy. We're not like the Orthodox churches where it's, you know, if you don't do what I say, this is going to happen to you. You know, we say coming is about love. You know, you're loved in the spirit world beyond measure. Start expressing that love in this world to make it a brighter place. Where do you see modern mediumship going into the future? Interesting. There's a phrase being used a lot is modern mediumship. It's just one of these, not being detrimental, it's one of these buzzwords and catches in the thoughts. There is, I think there's a little bit of a turning away now from the demonstrations, because who is it? Simon James, wonderful guy, absolutely wonderful. He and his partner Brian Robinson run the Inner Sanctuary, Open Door Sanctuary in Canada, and he's got a great outlook on spiritualism. And he was stuck over here in the COVID years, so he couldn't get back to Canada anyway. And so he went round, he did a few churches, and we were talking. He said, you know what? He said, I left this party 30 years ago talking about the movement. And he said, and I've come back now and it hasn't changed. And isn't that sad? Because we're a progressive religion. We're a progressive movement. We encourage independence. You know, we go back through our history of spiritualism and some of the great movers and shakers of the year, different bills, childhood labour bills was passed because the spiritualists drove it through, because they had access to that, you know, higher knowledge and understanding and thinking, you know what, actually what we're doing is wrong. And you look at today's world, there is so much need for activism, and that's what our movement's about. So I think mediumship is going to probably evolve along the lines of, I'd like to see home circles coming back. That's been very prevalent in my thought, because home circles have a wonderful environment, and some of the greatest mediums that we look back with deepest reverence on at these times all trained and learned in home circles. I think mediumship itself is, we're seeing, I don't know if you're aware of spiritual assessments. They are really interesting. When you've got somebody that can do it, not just says, oh, I'll do a spiritual assessment and not have any idea what it's about, then it gets a bit squeaky. But when you have the true exponents of spiritual assessments, they can be such a good thing to help you on a direction and clarify thoughts and bring focus in. So I think mediumship is probably going to spread that little bit more beyond. Why am I doing this around my face? I have no idea. Just having the evidence, but actually having that personal interaction. But we've got to be very mindful of that, because I see a lot of adverts where people will say, "Oh, we give you guidance and advice," and it's like, is that the voice of spirit, or is that your personal opinion? You've just got to be a bit wary there. But I think modern mediumship, and also the way it's practiced, we're going to see an upsurge in. We can work now online giving messages to people on the other side of the world. Well, do you know what? To stand on a platform and give a message from somebody who's dead is one thing. To sit in your lounge and give a message to somebody who's sat in Brisbane is like another, it's another level. It's like, wow. So I think we're going to see more electronic means coming into as part of our mediumship. There was a circle in Denmark, and they had a blank card in there. I don't have mobile phones, so I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about here. But they asked the spirit world to put an image on there, and they did. At the end of the circle, there was an image which was recognised. But the thing was, they couldn't download that image, and after a couple of days, it went off of the card. That fits with me, because spirit, show us things for us here and now. People say, well, why don't you get names? Why don't you get addresses? And I think, well, because, the spirit world knows more than I, and they're probably looking at you going, okay, well, this week I'm going to give you a name. So next week you come back, you want an address. The week after that, you're going to want their postcode. For what? This is not an entertainment. This is not a test of things. We have communication for a purpose, and to just get into that, but greater awareness amongst people as well. So yeah, I hope that answered the question half an hour ago.
Yeah, you've actually got another question now. You do, yeah. And it's from Rachel Volkman. Where does the claim come from, according to spiritualism, that God is the source of everything that exists? Could it be said that since spirit is eternal, we are a kind of God's microcosm, the source of everything in this microcosm?
Yeah, that's really it. And this fits in with the one consciousness theory. You've heard the saying, the sum is greater than the total. So if you put 2 eggs in a basket, you find out you've got 3. And you just think, well, how does that happen? So if you expand that into the consciousness of everything is going to be greater than the consciousness of everything, if you understand what I'm saying. And we're part and parcel of that. Each and every one of us, everything that lives is part of that global unified thought, this creative consciousness that we're all part of. So yes, Raquel, I always say we all work with that thread of the divine within us. We all have it. It's inherent. We can't not have it. God is, I use the word God. God is everywhere and in everything. You just got to look for it. And I know people will say, well, the usual one is, well, what about Hitler? God is in everything and everywhere. All right, that thread of the divine runs through us. And if we take the time, we take the effort to start to tune into that, and then we start to see the connectivity of everything. And that's beautiful when you start on that voyage. It's wow.
Wow, indeed. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us, Lawrence. Oh my goodness. We can feel your just beautiful presence as you're speaking. So it's beautiful because I know like your own spirit, your own soul's like with you, speaking through you too. And it's just so beautiful to hear your words. And it's like, I know that we all feel you, because I can feel its power. I can feel the spirit. And so I know that we're in this beautiful container, and you're such a huge, beautiful part of that. And we are all feeling that beautiful presence as you speak the words of spirit in that way. So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I would have been very different 20 years ago. I used to run nightclubs and pubs. The only spirit I was accustomed to was the ones in the bottle behind me. But you know what? I always try to be kind in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't always succeed, but I did always try to be kind. And now, with the greater awareness, we're all going to do it, aren't we? We're going to deal with something, walk away and think, yep, could have done that better.
Mm-hmm.
But
Very true.
That is growth. That's what growth is about, and realize.
So true. That's so true. Well, you must be psychic, because that leads me to my next question. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, would you want to give him a message?
Yeah, bags away. You know what? No, I wouldn't.
No.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to thwart what's happened. I equate that to, you know, people want. This is a great lesson. You know, if a medium tells you that in a year you're going to be a millionaire, so you walk out and think, brilliant, you know, I'm going to be a millionaire in a year's time. So I'm just going to sit here and wait, you know, because this million is coming to me. And then at the end of the year, no million has appeared. And you go back to the medium and say, you told me at the end of the year I was going to be a millionaire, and I'm not. Well, what have you done about it? Well, I just sat there and waited. Well, that's not how you're going to get your million. Your million is there for you to go out into this world and make a difference, make a change, make a presence, or do whatever. And that will create. There is potential. Great word. We have limitless potential. We cut off our own potential. Do you know what? Every morning we wake up is a new opportunity. Every single day is a new life. And it's full of potential. So, yeah, I wouldn't go back. I'd go back probably and have a drink with myself. That'd be crazy. You'd probably end up on a tuna boat going to Arkansas or something. I don't know. But it'd certainly be lively. I know that.
Oh my God!
I was going to ask you a question there, Lawrence. Do you believe that there is other living planets in the world that we've just not been able to reach yet?
Well, out in the solar system and beyond.
Yeah, because I mean, we know that we've got Earth here, but surely there's more planets with people living on it. We can't just be the only ones, surely. What's your thought on that?
Well, it depends how you define living. I mean, we regularly converse with people in other dimensions.
Yeah, as physical living, we're physical living beings here. Yeah.
So, you know, spirit is alive and energetic and with purpose, with goal and with freedom of thought. So that is a living consciousness.
Yeah.
If you extend that out into the universe, what we may see as somewhere barren may not be barren. It's just barren to our eyes.
Yeah.
But life has got a way of working its way through everything. You know, you can fill your garden full of weed killer, and tomorrow you'll have a dandelion in there laughing at you. And I think life exists everywhere, but on different levels.
Yeah.
Plants are alive. We know that. We know they're a living organism, but we don't give much thought to their social structure or how they interact or how they communicate. You know, the network of tree roots, how they communicate, which is starting to be looked into seriously. So, yeah, I think it depends on our understanding of life. If you think carbon-based life forms, there is potential there. There is potential. Where, I have no idea, because everywhere is going to be made up of different elements. Carbon is fairly unique to this solar system. who's to say whatever other element-based life form. So, and if we found it, would we understand it? Because again, there's the time we live in, our timeline, our time that we create, morning, noon, night, sleep, get up, da da da. That's how we perceive time. You know, there could be another planet where they perceive time totally differently to us, and we may not understand that.
Yeah, totally
So,
get that.
yeah, I don't shut the door to it. But yeah, I think it's just how we perceive life and how we get that understanding of all living things, great thoughts, deep thoughts.
Would you think that the same with aliens?
Again, as I say, there's no telling, is there? Whatever their basic structure of their life is, could be different to us. As I say, I wouldn't dismiss it, but I would wonder, would we recognize life from somewhere else? Because, as I say, you know, they may not match up to our time frame.
Yeah.
We live 100 of our years or 80 of our years, whatever it is. You might have an organism that lives a millennia.
Yeah.
And their life cycle is going to be so much slower. You know, you could land on their planet, say hello, and go back in 10,000 years, and they go, "Oh, hello," because it's taking that time to work out the answer.
Good answer. Oh, Jennifer, you got anything you'd like to share? Are you frozen, Jennifer? I think she's frozen.
I just had a slight connectivity issue there because I saw
Yeah,
you.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you believe then, Lawrence, that the veil is actually thinning then? Do you feel it's thinning now compared to years ago? Or do
No,
you...
I think our openness and thinking is raising our consciousness to meet spirit more equally.
Yeah.
I'm a great believer that in 2020, during the lockdown or the lockdowns, our psychic network opened up greatly.
Yeah.
People become, you know, because we were suddenly taken out of the Monday to Friday 9 to 5, oh my God, it's Christmas already, how did that happen, routine, and suddenly nothing. So we were actually searching for things. We were actually putting that mental effort into looking for things. And as I say, I do believe that opened up our psychic network. It made people more aware that we were coming into an enlightened age anyway, because spiritualism, spirituality, spiritists, whatever guise it comes under, was getting more and more understood because of social networks, video, TV programs, although sometimes they try to paint us a little bit dark. So people were getting more open to the thought, and it's like anything, you know, if you believe once you're dead, you're dead. I believe very strongly that once you die, you will die. You will just sit there until that realization slowly comes to you that, hang on, I'm dead, but I'm thinking, and then you will start to move forward. So I think we're seeing now in our world, and certainly Europe's very exciting. Because spiritualism is going through a very progressive journey all the way through Europe. Whereas before, because it was heavily orthodox religions controlled most of the countries, it was, ooh, don't do that, you know, ooh, voodoo, leave it alone. But now, as I say, through social media, in fact, tonight, in the church, the open circle is being taken by Jack Eckhart from Denmark, who's over here staying for a couple of weeks, which is brilliant. And I've been invited out to Europe a couple of times next year to do some teaching, which is amazing. And there's a vitality in Europe. It's really exciting because, again, everybody's consciousness is starting to open up to these ideas. They're starting to think, they're given time to think about things and investigate.
Yeah. It does make you think, doesn't it, about so
Yeah.
much. Even with the COVID, as you suggest, as you mentioned as well, I mean, globally we've connected, we all came together. We all united together, and we've met some amazing people through this, and friends, lifetime friends, Jennifer Rose. we met then.
I met Alice. We've been friends ever since, and I mean, what a blessing that. I mean, it was a blessing, and I know it was such a difficult time, but it was also such a blessing the way we were all brought together, in this international way and through technology, and made friends that we wouldn't have met. We wouldn't probably be doing this, I mean, it's amazing to see how it's all come together. So,
and that brings it back nicely to, when we were saying about we're all here today because we've overcome things we never thought we would. And that just shows the indomitability of the human spirit, that wherever you're pushed hardest is the time when you rise. What is it? The fear saying, fear everything and run, or face everything and rise. And when we are pushed, when we are in those situations, we can find those new strengths within us. And goodness knows there's enough in the world today to keep pushing that within us. But as I say, the word spiritualism, suddenly, when we were doing the online services in the first lockdown, just to see if I could do it, and we managed it and very successful. We had a service where we had one speaker from Iceland, one speaker from Sweden, one speaker from Edinburgh, being hosted down here in the south of the UK, over to Menorca, and then down to Australia. I just went, that's really good. I nearly said a rude word there. That is amazing. That was absolutely amazing thing. But yeah, and as I say, this connectivity of people, we are meeting people. And especially for us mediums, because we're getting this opportunity now to talk with each other. Because I always say our mediumship is a lone journey, as in what we face is between us, our consciousness, state of mind, whatever. But it needn't be a lonely journey. We've got these ability now that we can talk on nights like this and share thoughts and ideas. And you go away and think, well, that was... Do you know what? Because I live on my own, my language filter keeps slipping at times. I must be very, very careful of that. So, yeah, sometimes we hear things and think, yeah, can't go along with that. And other times we think, oh my God, thank God for that. I thought I was the only one. Or just talk, and as you can tell, I talk a lot. And you talk through things with fellow mediums, and that's brilliant. I think that's a wonderful thing. Again, it's bringing back like the old school mediums, because they would all sit together. And when I mentioned this to a working medium, and I said about a circle for working mediums, he went, well, that won't work. They'll all be bitching about each other. And I went, oh my God, are we that fragile? Do you really think that? But now we can listen to other people talking. We can share thoughts and ideas and mull it over. If we approach everything in this energy of debate, we can advance our own spiritual journey. I'll stop talking now.
What is your thoughts on trance and physical mediumship, Lawrence?
Nice one. I have been struggling. I've been looking for a physical medium to come to Paul Church to do a demonstration for an invited audience. I'm not doing a public, forgive the phrase, circus thing. For an invited audience of fellow mediums, church committees, etc. Because to actually be in the presence of either trance or physical mediumship it's not so much what you see, it's the experience of it. I've sat in a couple of times in physical dens, and what I've seen was amazing, but what I felt was indescribable. And the same with trance. When you hear those words, we've got a very good local medium, Mark Stone, wonderful, and his trance is sublime. And he can sit up there for 2.5, 3 hours in trance. The flow is steady, even. There's no coughing. There's no drinking walks. You know what? I'm having trouble talking here at the moment without coughing and going, You can deliver it. And what you listen to, what you take away from it, and the experience of being there, because you feel that presence of spirit. So, yeah, by all means, explore trance, explore physical. But when I say critical, it's like anything. If you're going to go out and buy a car, what do? You research it, don't you? You look into it. Is it going to be good for the mileage? Does it do this? Does it do that? How's it going to work? Blah, 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 blah. You do all that research, yet sometimes people see, demonstration of physical mediumship, £200. Oh, I'll go for that. Look into the lineage of it's all the physical mediums sending me out the evils. No, look into the lineage of these people, because we go back in time a bit, and they were amazing physical mediums. Albert Best, Stuart Alexander, people like that, are absolutely awesome. But today's world, I think trance and physical probably go under the radar a wee bit. Because the thing is, if you publicise, then you get everybody trying to jump in. And as I say, it's about the experience. And to be able to experience it, I believe firmly, you've got to have a good understanding or a good open mind to the way spirit works. And if you combine all those, the experience is unique and unforgettable. I can think back to certain sittings I've been involved, and not only can I hear everything that's being said, I can feel that warmth, I can feel that love, I can feel that peace, I can feel the cold. That's usual and physical. So yeah, by all means, look into it. It would be wonderful to see the upsurge in physical mediums like we used to have, but unfortunately today's society would be very unforgiving. If I was to say, right, I'm going to do physical mediumship next week and advertise it openly to the public and got 100 people in, 20, 30 of those people would be there to disprove what I'm doing.
Yeah. But do you not think, though, Lawrence, that's because there have been some controversial evidence, actually, from some, let's say, meant to be physical mediums, and it wasn't, I'm afraid. It was a lot of gimmick in it, and I was at one in particular, and quite shocking, really, because there was no need for it. There was no need for that, but was proved by the higher beings that it wasn't right. It was fraudulent, and I think there's been more than one occasion with that. So now people do question a little bit more on, well, is this the real deal or is it not? But I can agree with you on one thing. You can feel when it's right. You know it's right.
Changes.
Yeah, without a question of doubt, you just know, because you can feel that essence of spirit. It's the most beautiful place, So it's sad when certain mediums would think that we can abuse that.
Yeah,
that's right. That's not right.
It isn't right, and we, the public, have got to take part of the blame for that. Because as I say, if you advertise tomorrow you're going to do a physical dem, you would be swamped with people wanting to come along and see it. Now, I believe that I'm aware of a number of people that have been found to be doing fraudulent acts within demonstrations, whether by personal experience or by photographic evidence. I believe all these people had or have the ability to continue their physical mediumship, but it's that fine line, isn't it? If I were to do, I don't know, one session a week, one demonstration of physical mediumship a week, and I'm going to invite in 50 people into that, and it's £80 a head, which is one of the rates that I've heard recently. And I was doing that week in, week out. What does the spirit world think of that? What do they think? Are they going to support that? I don't think they are.
No,
because
I don't think so. No,
yeah.
I don't think so.
However, I as a medium, I've done it in a church service where I've stood up, and after a couple of minutes I've gone, do you know what? For whatever reason, it's really not working. I'm going to have to sit down. I'm just not making the connection today, and sit down. I've never heard of any physical dem, the medium saying, you know what, people, sorry, tonight's not working. So here's your money back.
Yeah.
It is about honesty. And integrity.
Honesty needs to come into it. Trust, love, and honesty has to come into it. And I do believe people who do go to watch a physical demonstration do believe they're going to see this honesty and love coming from spirit world, so they truly believe that. And it can be rather disappointing when they find out that actually that's not the case at all, and there's evidence to prove it's not the case. So I kind of think that's pretty sad that people who think they can do that feel they have to prove in some way. You don't have to prove it in that way, because you can feel the essence of spirit world in a great reading and a great message coming from spirit world, but yeah, there has been great. I remember seeing a few when I was younger. Great physical and trance mediums. One being Queenie Nixon, who was absolutely excellent. And Albert Best was another one. But you know what? I just find it quite disappointing that mediums think they have to do that to put on a show, because that's not what spirit want. They don't want that. They don't want that.
Yeah, it's true. And it's people's expectations sometimes put that pressure on the mediums to produce, the rabbit out of the hat. It just so happens I have a rabbit. That's handy. And also, the practitioners, their own. When I say ignorance, I'm not saying it's a bad, nasty word, but their own ignorance of the spirit world and how they perform. When I'm doing philosophy, I am in a state of trance. I'm not out of it talking in somebody else's voice.
Yeah.
But my consciousness is being overshadowed by those who work with me.
Yeah.
Because when I first started doing it, I used to work in an engineering firm, and there were 180 male engineers on a railway station. So you can imagine the language wasn't Sunday best. And I used to stand up there doing a service, and in the philosophy, I'd just start unawares, I would start to drift off. And then I'd drop out of my energy, and suddenly I'm looking at all these people looking at me, and my first thought every time was, have I just dropped the F-bomb? So trance is
yeah.
You know what? Yeah, and it is. It's an
It is
exploratory.
lovely.
And again, it's not going to be for everybody. you know, it's great to come into the movement and go, right, I'm going to be the next best trance medium. Okay, what's your soul say about it? What does your spirit group say about it? What does, if I were to give you, looking at you and sensing your energies, you know, if your base chakra is a bit dull and muted and not really playing up, and think, well, do you know what? You need that base chakra to be, to power that. So what you want and what you could are two totally different things.
You know, so the best trance medium in whose eyes, you know.
Exactly. It's a subjective thing.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
But
totally.
we've got another question here for you, Christopher James. Would you recommend a medium advances their studies at the Arthur Findlay Spiritualist College in Stansted?
I would recommend any medium to continually advance their mediumship, be it at the Stansted, be it with the ISM, the ISF, any organisation that has a constructive way of education, of bringing in structured training, structured development. So yeah, Christopher, I would recommend any medium seek whatever body to advance their own mediumship. We should never stand still, because you know what, if we stand still in our mediumship, we're actually going backwards, because everything else is moving around us. So we should always be out there to sit differently, to work with others, to learn and evolve that mediumship. We've had quite a few of the tutors and course organisers from Arthur Findlay working here at Poole, and without being dismissive of other medium, you can hear in their philosophy, you can hear in their tone, their address, their mannerism, that there has been that devotion to advancing their mediumship. It's not specific. Excuse me. It's not specific to one organisation. There are other organisations as well. But if you go into somewhere with that earnest desire to learn and progress, I mean, you can find that locally as well with other people. You know, we all know mediums and practitioners in our fairly local area, and just go up to them and just say, I need to move forward with things. I need to learn more. And you know what? 99% of them will say, great, what do you want to learn? Let's do it together. Let's find out. Let's explore.
You get the nudge, don't you? You just get that nudge, you know. Yeah.
I was delivering a message once, and it was so familiar. And I said to the sitter, I said, have I given you a message before? She went, no. I thought, this is all familiar, what I'm saying. What's going on? So when I got home, I was just sat and having a chat with upstairs. And I said, why does my mediumship all feel familiar now? Why is it? Is this like I know it beforehand? And they turned around and said, no, it's because you're not advancing your mediumship. And I went, oh my God. Yeah. I got to that level. I'm a medium. I'm getting bookings. I don't need to sit anymore. But that's where I stayed. And that's why it suddenly started all becoming familiar, because I was working on that level when there's so many more to work with.
Yeah, it's a never-ending learning journey, though, isn't it?
We never stop learning.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Hey, Lawrence, would you mind touching a little bit on healing or trance healing or any kind of healing, and just to kind of, you know, connect it with like trance and physical, and just how all forms of mediumship help to, you know, grow in your ability to blend with spirit and develop that close connection with spirit, and how healing can also be helpful in that as well.
Well, if we look at some of the greats in our history, most of them started off as healers. They didn't come in to learn mediumship as we know it today, evidential mediumship. They came in to learn healing. And when you're healing, you're being trained to step away. Not sit there going, I want your leg to grow back, or I want your head to grow back, or whatever. You're being trained to step away and let spirit do the work. Well, that is the state that we need when we're working on the platform as evidential mediums. We need to stop interfering with spirit, step to one side and let them do their job. So healing is a brilliant basis for everybody. And in healing, because when we use the term mediumship, the word medium is generic. We can be a philosophical medium, a healing medium, a teaching medium, all sorts of mediums. But when we sit for healing and just stepping out of the way and just giving without wanting back, that will start to build our character, and it helps us find our own. I'm here today because trying healing, suddenly mediumship was coming in at evidential, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, that's the route I'm going to take. But healing is amazing. I've seen amazing transformations in people. But I always believe the key to healing is not about taking that person's ailment away. It's about empowering that person to have that wholeness about themselves, to bring that healing forward for themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Beautifully
we
said.
never have a dependency on healers. Oh, my back's playing up, I've got to go and see my healer. Then, you know, you're stuck in this loop of dependency, you know, where in healing we have that opportunity to say, you know, a lot of conditions, physical conditions, come from our emotional body, our mental body, our spiritual body. They're like what I call echoes. And we can get down to these and start gently dealing with those, not trying to heal it, take it away for that person, because that denies us free will. But we can, through healing, educate people that, you know what, healing begins with you. I always say to people, you know what, if you wake up tomorrow and think, I'm going to have a really awful day, guess what? You have an awful day. If you get up tomorrow morning and go, do you know what, I'm going to start putting this pain behind me. I'm going to start leaving this confusion away. I'm going to start feeling better. Don't forget, healing works on the spirit, not just the physical body. Sometimes the physical body's journey may be coming to a close, but the real life essence does not, and that carries forward with that imparted knowledge. So yeah, healing, everybody, you know, get out there and learn proper healing. You know, you look at our churches, we pay our evidential mediums to go out on the platform, but we expect our healers to pay for their own insurance, pay for themselves to get down there, and we don't pay for it. How wrong is that?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for discussing that with all of us and sharing that, because I so agree, because that was one of the best things for my mediumship, was to go into healing, because it took all the pressure off, and it just helped me just like, what, I just have to stand here and let spirit do all the work? Okay. And that helped build my confidence and let spirit come in and blend with me, so I wasn't, you know, like you said. So thank you for sharing that with all of us. Beautifully worded. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Now you have a little job to do, Lawrence. And can you see the comment boxes?
Yes.
Can you see that? Yeah. So throughout the program, we've been asking people to like and share. So basically what you have to do now is to pick someone who's liked and shared for a free 30-minute private reading.
Oh, okay. How do I tell if they've liked and shared?
Yeah. For all the ones who's liked and shared, you know, that would be great.
He was asking, how do we know who has liked and shared? Let us know, everybody. There we go.
Yeah. There's quite a few who's got liked and shared there.
I may not be seeing all of them then.
That's okay. Okay. I'm just seeing a few.
While Lawrence is looking too, Paul wanted to let you know he had a problem with his Facebook account, and so he started a new account. So feel free to go onto his new page and add him as a friend, because he's building that back up again. Unfortunately, Facebook doesn't always cooperate with us, so I wanted to make sure we get that out there, so y'all know if you've been trying to connect with him and you're not hearing back, that's because of Facebook. And just find his new account and then go ahead and add him as a friend, and then you can get all reconnected. Okay.
Right.
So hard to choose.
Yeah, this is a difficult part, isn't it?
I know. Eva.
Yay!
Okay.
Yay! Congratulations, Eva.
Congratulations, Eva. Yeah. So someone will be in touch with you, or you be in touch. I don't know whose turn it is, to be honest.
I think it's my turn. Paul took last week, because the gal who won, I already know her very well. So Paul took last week. So I'll be connecting with you, Eva. So I'm so happy to get to do that for you. It's what a gift for me to get to do that for you. So congratulations. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Lawrence, thank you so much for just all of your wisdom and just loving presence and friendship that you shared with all of us, because I was just like glued to every word, and I know that everybody else here who was watching was too. So just thank you for your time as well, and for joining us here on Spiritual Talk. We're very grateful for you.
No, pleasure. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for joining us, Lawrence. It's nice to see you again.
Yes, no, I will see you in person here next May, Alice.
You will. I'm excited to come.
Yeah. I know. You could do one of our Lyceum nights.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the church live.
I know. It is. It comes over really well on screen, but again, it's this experience, and I think we need to bring that back into our movement, because seeing it live on telly is great, but walk through the doors and it's just like a big hello.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. A security blanket going around you.
Religion is meant to do that. If your religion is making you a bit worried and frightened, maybe you want to think about that.
Yeah.
Religion or philosophy or way of life, whatever you want to determine it as, there should be some there to support and comforts you.
There's Lawrence thanking you as well. Okay.
Hello, Paul.
Paul's thanking you. Sorry. I got that right the wrong way. You know what I meant.
Oh gosh.
Thank you, Lawrence.
That's all right. It's good. I enjoyed it. It's always good to talk.
Oh, you too, Lawrence. Well, thank you so much, and we look so forward to connecting with you again in the future. And again, it was just a delight to have you with us. So we're very grateful, and I know everybody else learned so much here today. So we wish you the best with everything that you're doing, and thank you for serving the spiritual community and coming on Spiritual Talk.
So we're just going to drop you now down to you're on the red hot seat. So this is where we say bye and we lower you down a little bit. So
is that me done now, or do I have to?
you can leave after this if you wish. Yeah, or you can stay on to the end. It's entirely up to yourself.
Right.
So I'll let Jennifer lower you down, because I've not got the control for that. Okay.
No,
this is the red hot seat. Bye. Yeah. So Lawrence is in the background, but hey, it was a great night, wasn't it, Jennifer?
It was a great night. Yeah, that was wonderful. I just enjoyed that so much. And so I think that was just perfect how everything worked out for us. So that was so great. We want to thank all of our viewers and listeners who are watching too. We're going to be hopping over to Zoom in just a couple of minutes. We've put the Zoom code and the passcode in the on the banner there for you. So hopefully you had a chance to write that down. And thank you all so much for joining us here today. Alice, is there anything else we want to say before we end our show today?
Oh, what's coming up next week? Well, that's a surprise. So We literally, I can see Paul's put that up. What's coming up? Well, we don't know, Paul, so we'll leave that. We'll leave that part. We don't know what's coming up next week. So, but I will say it will be beautiful, loving, and special. So join us next.
Yes, absolutely. And Paul's going to be on SPTV tomorrow at 8 p.m. UK, which will be 12 p.m. Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern time. So you want to make sure to catch Paul over on SPTV, and you should find the links over that on all our pages on Facebook as well. If you're looking for that, we'll make sure to get that shared out for you as well. You don't want to miss that. He's doing a lovely interview tomorrow. So thank you all so much for joining us here on Spiritual Talks. Myself, Alice, Lawrence, and Paul in the background. We're so happy that you all joined us here today and brought your lovely smiles, your energy, your presence, and all your beautiful comments in the chat box. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. We wish you all a beautiful day, and we'll see you in just a few minutes over here on Zoom to give some readings with me and Alice. So thank you and have a great evening. Bye, everybody.
Bye.